Hey everyone. As we've discussed today during class, a lot of our explore activities for Unit 3 are really hands-on, which is sad because a lot of them are very cool and unfortunately we can't do them together. But we are going to do them as video demonstrations. So what I have here is the setup that we need to use to complete the big or small Explore 1 for Geoscience Processes. So what we have is we have this shoebox, this sort of clear shoebox, and it's filled with sand and it's kind of sloped up on one side. This basically covers steps like 1 through 4 on your procedure. So if you're actually looking at the procedure in STEM scopes, that's what we're talking about. So your first order of business is going to be to draw this setup. And please don't feel you have to be detailed about the little house here. The main thing is just that there's like a house here. So what we have is just this slope of sand, comes up to the top here. We have a little building on top. That's all. So you may want to pause it right here. Go to, it is step 5 in STEM scopes. What you want to do is use that editor to draw a real quick, real simple diagram of the sand slope, the building. That's it. Okay. So I'm going to pause for a second, let you do that. And you should pause. I'm going to unpause when you're done. I'm going to assume that you are hearing this now because you've unpaused again and you're ready to move on. So here's where it gets exciting. We're going to take this and we're going to simulate one of the geoscience processes that we talked about today. So we are going to shake this for 20 seconds. All right. So you can go ahead and try to time me if you want. On your mark, get set, go. Okay, that was 20 seconds. And as you can see, things have changed a lot in here. All right. So now what you need to do is pause the video again, and you are now looking at number 8. And number 8 is again going to ask you to draw a sketch of kind of what you see here. All right. It does not have to be precise. I'm going to get a little closer so that you guys can see it. These are charcoal briquettes that I used instead of wadded up paper, but there you go. All right. So go ahead and pause it. Sketch that in STEM scopes under number 8. Okay, so like magic, I have reset everything. The questions 9 and 10 on STEM scopes are going to ask you what you just witnessed. So prior to me resetting all of this, what did the shaking represent? So you need to decide what geoscience process that we talked about today kind of matched what we did. Pretty sure you guys will figure that out. If you have questions, let me know. Also, you want to describe how this process affected the land and the home that was on it. Okay. So now I've reset it. Everything's back to where they were in the beginning, but this time rather than shaking it, we're going to pour water in it. So I have one of our little sprinkle pans that you may have seen in our cabinet here. It's filled with, I think it's like 50 milliliters of water, 700 milliliters of water, and we're just going to basically rain all over this. I hope my daughter is not mad that I'm messing up her Lego. There we go. Now okay, so just like before, you want to pause the video. This time you want to draw that mess. All right, you want to draw what happened there. Okay, now after you do that, you're going to answer questions 14, 15, 16, and 17. Well, 17 is just asking me to clean up, so 14, 15, and 16. All right, I'm going to pause myself here so I can get myself reset up so the video will change dramatically in just a second. But in the meantime, go enjoy drawing that. Okay. Hopefully you're back at this point. We're about now to look at part 2 of this explore. And this one's a little tougher to show just because this is a lot more impactful if you can see it up close. So I'm going to film it this way just for now. And I have here, though, this very cool thing here. This is a microscope that actually will film it up close for you. So I may post a second video to YouTube and to Google Classroom for you that shows what it looks like underneath this thing. But just to show you what I'm doing though, and this is something that you can do at home. All right, what I have here is, this is limestone. So this is what all of Missouri's bedrock is more or less made of. Some parts of the state have a kind of smoother limestone that's called chert. This one's pretty rough. So this actually came from the hill that's outside my classroom. Some of you have seen that, where they dumped all those rocks down there. So it's just a small piece of pretty rough limestone. And what I have here in this little bottle is just vinegar. And vinegar is, it has acetic acid in it. So it's got a very, very low pH there. So what we're going to do is we're basically just going to pour some of this vinegar on top of this rock. Now, I'm going to try to move it a little closer. The problem is the webcam doesn't pick it up so great. I'm going to do my best here so you can see a little bit maybe. So what we're going to do, and this is not a petri dish, this is just a regular dish, but it's white, so it kind of provides a nice contrast. I'm going to pour a little bit of the limestone, or the vinegar on the limestone. And let's see if you guys can actually see what you're supposed to see out of this when you do. I'll move it tilted in just to see if you can see it. It's kind of getting fuzzy. What you will see is that it's bubbling. Okay, there is a lot of, it's kind of like the reaction that takes place between vinegar and baking soda. Very basic with a lot of calcium in it, and so it tends to fizz. All right, this is what we call a chemical weathering reaction. And so where before we looked at kind of what we call a large scale geoscience process, this is a microscopic scale geoscience process. This one's very small. So actually I'm going to put just a little bit more on so you can see this in more detail in just a second. But what will happen is this rock was very well polished and wiped off. And when I pick it up, you'll notice that there's little bits of it that start to flake off in the water. And so what's happening here is that acid is eating away at the rock, and it's actually causing little pieces of it to flake off. You can see how the liquid's getting kind of gray there. Okay? So if I were to leave this piece of rock soaked in the vinegar for a long time, a lot of that gray would end up in the liquid because it's just sort of gross. You can see that there. All right, so once again, I will also do this underneath my video microscope, and so hopefully you'll be able to see it a little more clearly. The bubbles are tiny, but they're kind of cool to see. All right, so now what you need to do is you need to record your observations of what we just saw under number 5, under part 2, and then you're going to answer question 6. And I think that's it. Yeah. So you have question 6 where you're going to talk about A, B, and C. What did you observe when you dropped the acetic acid on the limestone? Okay. What did you observe in the petri dish after removing the limestone sample? So that's the stuff down here. And is this geochemical process of dissolution, which is what it's called, a large or small scale change? And why do you think this? Okay. So that's it. Like I said, be sure to check Google Classroom for the other videos so you can see this one up close. Have a great day.